So on today's exceedingly short episode, this is always my shortest stream of the week, is Monday, just because it's a busy day, I have a lot of shit to do. But basically, it's nearing my first year anniversary of playing this game. Of course, I only play very little, like once a week for a couple hours, or even just an hour. But on one hand, my collection is probably better than you would think, just because we got a lot of cards that you can't disenchant. So it kind of forces you into a scenario where you're forced to keep what you get, but that means we actually have a decent sized collection. Whereas if you were able to break them down, it really would have hurt me because I'd have like every green card in the game because I love green so much, but then I wouldn't have anything else. So in the long run, that's actually a good thing. Yeah, all I'm trying to do is farm out for the 10k gold, which takes me like a month to do. Unironically, just we're giving red a chance. That guy's pretty badass. This would be a great like MMO boss or like a Souls like Magic the Gathering game, but I guess they'll never make one. I think every Magic game out there is just a card game, like even if it's a single player thing or whatever. There is like one open world one that I should try. So basically my goal for this series was, I'll collect every card in green because of how much I like green, although I don't know when exactly I decided that. And we should always get to Mythic like once, but it has been kind of a unique way of doing it, which is almost how I'm doing PvZ Heroes too. There's no permanent condition, there's no hard mode condition, just because it's such a ubiquitous card game genre entry that it kind of deserves just to be an ongoing thing. Like kind of like how Hearthstone is for me, just like I've played it pretty much since it came out 10 years ago, closed beta, even before it came out. And so I'll never like really stop playing it until it goes offline. Whereas with this, I just started playing last year, but the problem is there's like too many other versions of Magic that like there are things about this that might not be the authentic game, so I still want to try. I don't know, like this might still be overly simplified, and I don't even know like what the differences really are. It feels like this is bugged out. Already a bug, 5 seconds into the game. The gems, upcoming alchemy renewal, and I've never gotten like the reward track from the. This is gonna be 10k. Wait, why does it open that? Yeah, 10k, but I can't do it because even if I do all these daily quests, like it is pretty hard to earn money, or at least it should let you combine stuff. The white or blue or green. So green is easy to do. That's easy to do. But imagine doing that. This is from last week. So again, PvZ Heroes comparison number 2. Imagine having daily quests that you only play once a week. You're already going to get hurt because you're missing like 4 of them, right? But on top of that, I don't even complete them in the week that I have it. So we're already behind a week and we didn't do like maybe 2 of them. That seems insane. So let's do red and green sort of round robin. Even do best of 3 just to see, if one loses, I'll switch to the other. So we do kind of like this in episode permadeath thing, but it's not like, oh, if I lose with both, I have to end the series. Yeah, probably nobody plays games like this because they always want to jump ahead. Like, it'd be funny to see, if you look at my collection, how many Mythic Caliber decks can I make right now? Probably a lot, or at least if you count the wild cards that I've wasted on other stupid stuff. The next one I want is kind of that Carnage Tyrant, just because it looks cool, and it's a dinosaur and it's hexproof, so it's combining some of my favorite things. This deck is pretty terrible. The dragons are pretty bad value, but I mean, it's the best I have for red, probably, but. Or maybe it's also my fault, too. Like, regardless of my crafting choices and stuff, I'll keep picking different mechanics and just sort of do a showcase on it. Like, oh, I just want to try hexproof. So it doesn't matter whether they're good cards or not. I'll just craft a bunch of hexproof stuff just to try it because I like it, not because it's optimal. Because that's usually how the best decks are. They'll have some of those mechanics in there, but it won't be like, I just kind of hard commit. Like, all I want is to have nothing but hexproof minions with no other theme to it. Or all I would want is like, you just commit to one idea and you do it in sort of a very tunnel vision way. Which are always fun and interesting decks, in my opinion, but they're never very good. But that's almost what the twist format is doing in Hearthstone. Like, that's exactly the kind of idea I would do. Like, oh, use only class cards. Or, use only within a certain criteria. But that you would just self-impose and choose to do it. Dragonborn Looter. More like my character from Skyrim, am I right? Because I'm such a loot-hoarding fiend. but I wasn't really much of a thief, to be fair. Like in the Thieves Guild and stuff, there's still so much stuff I haven't done in the game, but it's almost by design. The way I play stuff is just so unique, whether it's better or for worse. I'm not even saying it's a good thing or that other people should do it, but you know, like I can just make my own fun or make my own content because it's so, and I try never to change that. Oh, just because I'm streaming. The only thing that streaming does is, well, first of all, oh, it's like how I remember having this conversation about because of Pokemon, whatever, like Psychology of Twitch episode, but people always called Pokemon fake, and I was like, yes, but isn't everybody? Like, you think XQC behaves the way he does on stream in real life? Or like, it'd be weird, like even for me right now. I like to think my stream of consciousness and like what I'm saying is pretty much what I'm thinking when I'm playing a game, but I wouldn't just sit there talking to myself the whole time, right? Like it's still sort of the same mindset going through my head, but you're not talking, you're not yelling, screaming, you're not freaking out, reacting to everything. The one thing it does change for me is it makes me more focused. Like I have like a fixed schedule of what I do, whereas normally I would just do random stuff, or like even in like a series sense, like I would start a game and then I would never finish it. Whereas on stream, I feel compelled whenever I have an episode day for it. Like it used to be every other day, now it's like once a week, but at least you finish it, by the way. Like Dark Souls 2 is still unfinished and PvZ hard mode is still unfinished, but at least I do it in like a recurring sense. Because there's so many games that I've either beaten or had the chance to beat, because even if I fail my first playthrough permadeath thing, like, you know, Danganronpa, I would have beaten. But yeah, let me try to recap actually. What games have I beaten all the way? Not very many probably since coming back. I beat, or even like hard modes and other considerations. I came back and I beat I beat Luigi's Mansion Super Hard Mode. Then I beat Paper Mario Hard Mode. Those were both obviously first times. One was even a world first. Then, so you have Luigi's Mansion Super Hard Mode where the ghosts all have 200 health. Then you have Paper Mario Hard Mode, which was pretty easy. And so I just added my own condition like, okay, you can't use the 5 items, the 5 temptations of the Mushroom Kingdom, like Jam and Jelly, Ultra Shroom, Light Shroom, Repel Gel, and Metal Cap. They would make it even easier. Then the third one was like Spirit of Justice. And then I think Pokemon Y, which was the first playthrough permadeath. Not for the Pokemon themselves, but just for my character, because I wasn't sure if that would be fair to do. But it was actually pretty easy, all things considered. So it should have probably been permadeath for the Pokemon too. We're kind of letting him block this and not really caring about the result. Yeah, those were at least some games that I had never beaten before that maybe, like Spirit of Justice is a good example. I played Spirit of Justice on my old channel, so it was like around 2019, right, that I had done the first 2 cases. Then I didn't touch it between 2019 and 2021, and then as soon as I come back, I beat it. So I was almost saving that deliberately, but that just shows you I had no desire or no plan to play it otherwise, and I didn't even know for sure if I was going to come back, but I just can't stay focused and do one thing. Or it's almost like I'm saving it for something, so maybe doing it on stream gives me a sense of closure, like, okay, now it's not just, oh, for whatever views or something, but it's for maybe a little narcissistic, but like at least you have the memory of it too, like, oh, that cool moment. That's what I feel like the essence of this should be about. But so much of it becomes cynical over time. We're like, draw an additional card, 2 more to cast, it'll be even worse value. But no, it should be stuff like you would do what you would normally do, and then just he's flooded the board way too much, so it's over. Do what you normally do, whatever it is, because everyone has their own way of playing stuff, and mine was like always very slow and methodical and like overly completionist and overly obsessive and liking to play stuff blind and trying to figure stuff out that way, all of which might be not conducive to viewership, because you know you're going to spend a lot of time getting stuck on certain things that seem obvious, or not looking stuff up, or not taking advice, and sort of just getting hard stuck in weird moments that otherwise would be considered pretty obvious. A lot of the games I failed were like, okay, LA Noire, I died to the chandelier. Danganronpa, I died to the DDR mechanic. I mean, I've had a lot of failures. Xbox Game Pass gauntlets. Aviary Attorney. I think I died, but I still don't even know whether that was a failure state or not. We still have a chance to come back here, obviously. So all I want to do is next time I can go in and do a proper 10,000 draft. The problem is if the episodes are this short, I won't even have time to do it. We'll win like 2 or 3 games, and then we'll sort of... they're all flying anyway. Yeah, we'll play like 2 or 3 games, and then when we come back by the next week, the format will reset, right? So it doesn't give you like seemingly a refund for what you paid in. It just ends and resets. Now that happens in Hearthstone, but it only happens like when a new expansion comes out, like every 4 months or whatever, right? But other than that, if you leave an arena hanging, you can come back to it, or it'll even give you like a free ticket for another one. Is it going to give me the 10,000 gold back or an equivalent number of gems to allow me to do another one because it ends in the middle when it's only a week away? Like, that seems pretty unfair. I don't know how often or when those reset. I don't know how many drafts I've done total either. It feels like less than 10 maybe in like a year's time. And you would think I'd like that mode more because I always swore by it in Hearthstone. Just that's what I even that's even what the game is called, is arena. Like I'm doing an arena run, but that could apply to anything because that's just the name of the game. Whereas in Hearthstone, it's specifically called arena mode where you get to draft. But no, I mean, you would think I would like the drafting more just because I enjoy it as a mode, but also because it helps you build your collection and lets you try new stuff that you don't have. It's very ideal for a free-to-play sort of newish player. One of my biggest favorite things is obviously the dinosaurs, which even outside of green can be fun, but you know, it's still better value. 4 mana, 4/4, like that's really so good. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is just not good value, period. Ninjutsu, when it enters the battlefield from your hand, if it's attacking, create a token, copy another from your hand. Okay, so he didn't even use the effect, so I guess we should save that. We kind of know what he's doing, but it'll go from like 0 to 100 with respect to their board sometimes. Like I always am on the receiving end of sort of them flooding the board with too many things and I just can't block it. I normally have the stronger board with whatever decks I use. Like I have 10-10 and 5-5 and all this kind of strong stuff, but then they just have way too many things, like 51 ones or little ant tokens or weird stuff. There's a lot of infinite loop combos in this game, not the least of which is aided by the fact that you can have infinite minions on the board. So many things that are hard to visualize in real life that probably don't apply, right? They probably take liberties with it. If it was kicked, return target sorcery from graveyard to hand. Doesn't really feel like I need to do it, but let's just do it. No, I can't. Fuck. Yeah, I wonder what he sees there, if it gives away that I had something to play. Or like, you can kind of bluff that you have something to play. I forget, by like hitting Alt or Control or something. The problem is it makes it seem like you can do these, but you really can't because Trample Haste gets +2/+0 till end of turn. When it deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much to target planeswalker they control or protect. It's probably worth it to do that. And I can even do this. I will be able to hit you. Haste is not a mechanic I've used very much, nor do I really like it that much, but it could be fun to make a deck with that theme in here. As far as red, it seems to almost fit. Yeah, I've sort of almost saved certain mechanics. Like there weren't any greens planeswalkers that I felt too crazy about using, so mostly minion-based decks. But yeah, it's so hard to translate some of these ideas to the over-the-board tournament kind of card game environment. Like, oh, you can have an infinite number of different minions, not even just like, oh, number of tokens and write down the number of them on the board. Now you can have literally infinite minions on the board. There's no board size, there's no deck size pretty much. It's so big, 500, whatever, 250 cards. Then you can have like, oh, I could have buffed it too. Yeah, no board size, no deck size, no hand size. May as well be like just nothing. Then there's cards that do all kinds of stupid stuff like, oh, go out to your truck outside and get a card from your collection that's outside of the game that's not in your deck. Like, would mechanics like this really exist in the game? Like, they're kind of cool effects in a way, but you're like sideboarding in the middle of the game, but like not even without having to prepare it ahead of time. There's just so many ways to troll that come to mind that you could potentially do. You could do Sarkhan until the end of the turn, create a 4/4 with flying. I think that's probably a good decision to make because it's about average value for a dragon anyway. In fact, it's better value. A 4/4 dragon would cost like 6 or 7. So this only costs 5 to just summon him too.
Your end has arrived.
I shouldn't do anything here, but he does have flying, so it's kind of pointless. You may as well just go for it because he'll save it and kill Sarkhan. So we paid 5 mana basically just for the 4/4, which is still better value than anything in my deck. Yeah, 5 mana for a 3/3. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, so that will be good to do. It'll do 2 damage to him. So it would almost kill that, but of course, oh yeah, that's another interesting mechanic, like the auto heal. Everything heals at the end of the turn. See, now he's going to flood the board way too much, and not just because he's playing blue. Ha ha ha. Wait, what is that effect? Turn target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, which it should still return it to my hand. Like, even though it wasn't in my hand to begin with, it's the fact that sometimes those cards are like...
Listen to them roar.
Wait, shouldn't that is still hit? Oh no, but this is just a dinosaur, not a dragon, so he even played around that effect. I'm really going to go 0 and 2 here. And I guess I'll play as green, like the whole final boss of the game is just try to complete some daily quests. Or you would have to trade in, or you would have a lot of chances here because you have to block that dude. But you'll just kill me. 6, 7, 8, 9. But you should probably block it. Block the 4/2. The point is I'll have another one next turn, and he would obviously know that. But I haven't changed my card back or my appearance in a super long time. I was almost gonna go in order, but then I got kind of bored of them because you can't appreciate the voices of them anyway. They do voice acting for planeswalkers, but not for the avatars for whatever weird reason, even though a lot of them are the same. Like the same character. So why not just use the same voice line again there? Maybe there is some way to do it and I just don't know. Or you have to buy that specially. But it just seems like they went super generic with that. And it's one thing, okay, when it first came out, you can do that. But it's been out for years now, so it really should have some... 7, 8, but I'm still not dead. He has the 4/4 strategically. This guy will have trample, but there's just nothing I can do. The song is so peaceful. It's like a lullaby or something. Yeah, I've used this pet for a super long time too. One of the dumbest things that I do, like, even though it's new free-to-play account, this and that, I'll buy like a cosmetic with thousands of gold. That's part of the reason why I'm so far behind. But quite frankly, the main reason why I've had trouble doing drafts is because I've done so bad in them that unless you do well, that's the best way to get it back. Like, it doesn't matter how long it would take you to save 10k. Once you spend the 10k, you should get at least 5 to 7k back, or whatever, equivalent in terms of gem conversion. You should get some of it back so you can almost do another one. That's the whole trick, like with Hearthstone. If you average 7 arena wins, you'll get a free one every time. Right, it'll give you enough to buy back into it. Of course, here the maximum you could average is 6 something because, you know, if I revive that from Hearthstone where I averaged 60 games for a couple years, that would be amazing here because there are only 7 total wins in most of these formats. Yeah, this Lord of the Rings thing is kind of weird, but almost just makes me want to try a Lord of the Rings card game, period. But I don't know if there is one. It seems like there's a card game of everything these days. The Witcher, the League of Legends, all these kind of things. Island. Yeah, as if I even like water to begin with. We have 7,700. And so even if I did both of these, that'll be 1,200. So that'll be almost 9. So it pretty much guarantees that next week, how many do I actually lose if you do the math? Okay, if you play on Monday, you do 3. So that would mean 3 from the previous week. Like, let's say you did basically Saturday, Sunday, Monday's daily quest. Then if you don't play till the next Monday, you're gonna miss Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then you'll do Saturday, Sunday, Monday again. So you're only missing 4 days, right? You're still catching up with 3, assuming you actually complete them. So now we have to do green, which I had to do anyway, so I lost on purpose, just because I had to switch. Let's see what we get as far as the mythic, whatever. It kind of kills the RNG fun of it, even though people would probably like it, that you get like a guaranteed crafting thing every once in a while. So 4 common, 1 uncommon. Yeah, I kind of want that Carnage Tyrant just for the heck of it. That'll complete my whole hexproof thing, but I also try not to craft like too many of the same thing. Like if there's like 4 different hexproof minions, like I'll make one of all 4, even if I know one's just better than the others, just for variety. Like that's a weird way of doing it, but I don't see the point of making too many of the same thing. You can bluff, control key, command key. Yeah, playing on Mac, that's almost as bad as playing on mobile, am I right? Oh yeah, they're gonna have all the avatars and stuff even from fucking Lord of the Rings. This is a green-blue hybrid because it has obviously the hexproof idea, but this is a terrible hand. And the convoke mechanic makes no sense for me either, because it's a case where I kind of do want to keep that too, but it probably won't happen. Rare greeting. It's just like, how hard would it be? I've probably said that like a million times, but they kind of missed an opportunity with that. Golem, Teaming Guide. Also, apparently a game that people really shout on. See how the art doesn't really look like him, though? You could say, oh, it's him from... It makes it seem like they're trying to subvert some kind of copyright. Like, we have Golem at home. Also, Golem at home. This guy. Like, this doesn't look like him. Halfling Horror. Whenever it attacks, look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put them back in any order, then choose a land or non-land. An opponent guesses the top card of your library is chosen kind. Reveal that card. If they guess right, remove him from combat. Otherwise, you draw a card and he can't be blocked. So he's kind of a fun mechanic, but I'm going to assume they're not going to pick a land. It's not like you draw it, it just reveals it. He removes it from combat, so it just doesn't do anything. Yeah, we get to play rock, paper, scissors in the middle of the game. But that doesn't mean he can't just be destroyed. This is legendary. As your ring bearer, this is legendary and can be blocked by creatures with greater power. Like, maybe I should just destroy it, but that touch when it enters the field. Okay, this guy's actually playing into the expansion a lot. Nazgul, this art is pretty sick though, aside from, again, a lot of the characters. Yeah, I was saying, like, it looks like the art is trying to subvert copyright. Like, oh, we have Lord of the Rings stuff, but it's not really from Lord of the Rings. But it is. Like, this is what you come up with for Golem. Why does it just not look right? The ring tempts you. Whenever the ring tempts you, put a +1/+1 on each wraith you control. I don't know. It seems like a waste, but we do have 3 of them, so I guess there's no problem. You'll do the same shit again. And so I won't be able to block it. Or I wouldn't be able to block it anyway, right? His effect makes it that way if I guess wrong, but it also makes it so that because he's your ring bearer too. Okay. I'm gonna actually do it again. I think he'll make the same mistake. Whenever your ring bearer attacks, draw a card, then discard a card. Revealed card. Okay, let's just use double rebuke, even though I can't. Or no, I can. Seems like a bad idea, but his hand is getting dry, so what can go wrong? I'm not really that threatened by Golem either, or I'm feeling kind of amused by the fact that I can keep playing him with it and he's getting everything wrong. I'll have to go back and look at like what expansions are from what other series or games and stuff that they sort of ripped off or borrowed from it, whatever, like done a crossover with. Because it feels like there's maybe too many like that. But an influence counter, scry 2, opponent may The target opponent may have you draw a card. If it doesn't, you mill X cards where X is the number of influence counters, and that player loses life equal to the number of those cards. Pay 2 life. Beginning of upkeep, exile this creature unless you pay 2 life. It's fine. Now, why don't I have enough for this now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, because he took away the fact that I have 4 attack. And yeah, what would you rather play? This is the perfect scenario of the 5 mana 10/10 meme. A 5 mana 10/10 or a 5 mana 3/2 with flying and hexproof, because that totally makes it worth it. Each of those is worth like 3/3 on its own, right? If this guy had flying, he'd be a 7/7. If he had hexproof, he'd be a 4/4. So he'd still be better. I mean, you don't want to let him draw at this point, basically. But I kind of have to end it now, and he's doing it. Oh, wait. How does he keep doing that every turn? -1, or it just is an ongoing effect. But now I'll have to let him draw and do all kinds of crazy stuff. All I want it for is the trigger effect, not even... Witch King of Angmar. Legendary creature, Wraith Noble. 5/3, I can't do anything to it. I mean, some of this stuff is just going to be busted, right? New cards, power creep. Not that I would know even before, like, what a new card was, because I... Okay, we have to let him draw. It becomes a 1/2. How amazing. Like, what's even the point, dude? Or you could keep one of them, I guess. So the 5/3, we're not going to be able to block. We're not going to be able to do anything. It really seemed like I was going to win that, but somehow we do get another chance. This guy's a mighty gold player, which we see a lot more variation in this mode, like where you can play people much lower or much higher. Although I do like the mode a lot. Yeah, he committed pretty hard to the... Or all he did was pay 10k for a draft, and he got all these cards from it. So now he made a deck with them. So draft not to make the best deck and try to win. That's, of course, why I always lose. But I've only done one 10k draft or whatever that lets you keep... That lets you keep the cards you get. But I kind of prefer the 5k and the 2k ones or whatever, because there's, like, lower stakes. You don't have to worry about playing as well, because... Even if you mess up, you only lost 2 to 5k gold instead of 10. But no, it'll incentivize the worst thing, right? You'll do the draft to try to see, like, oh, I want to keep these cards, when instead it's a case where you'll make a bad, uncohesive deck that loses and goes 0-3, but you'll still be happy because, oh, I got a great deck or great cards that I want to have for constructed. Like, just get every legendary. Because that is sort of the trap sometimes. Oh, it's a legendary card, so of course it's going to be good, but some of them rely on synergies and other aspects so much. That would have totally saved me. It actually would have been able to block, but that stupid thing he used that just completely ruined the attack value of all these was very annoying. To get something big out fast before he does that, he definitely prevents me from benefiting from the 4 attack trigger, though. That's going to be really good, too. But he's just not going to let me get away with it. Like, any good deck, which not even saying his is that good, but it's going to cycle through stuff and guarantee that you get stuff of good value. So, is that even from Lord of the Rings too? We got a ton of Master's Rebukes last time, which can't be blocked. Creatures of greater power. Whenever the ring tempts you, put a +1/+1. Just feels like they can get out of hand, but maybe we'll let him do it for now. Like, our board is at least reasonably imposing, so let's just let it be. You would think he'd have to worry about this. You can remove the hexproof on the null hide, but only if you pay 2, so it's not a big price. It makes it good for you too if you want to buff it or something, but or no, you don't even have to do that to buff it, because if you want to play something other than a creature minion. Okay. But I can still use Rebuke, assuming he can't deal with the 6/6. He doesn't have the balls to attack with it. Or no, I'd have to pay 2 and then do it. Problem is, if I don't get rid of it now, I'll be screwed. So as much as I'm mocking this ability, I am going to have to do it. 3-4. May as well just do that, and I can't really do anything else, but you got to kind of put the pressure on. As much as I like this guy, it's just not what I thought it would be for a mythic wild card of that. But like that frog. I can't remember if that was part of the 10k draft, but I got to make that just because. It had such a memorable moment where it just refused to croak. So I wouldn't even be able to block with that though. Didn't he have that option like last turn too? Or no, I could block with obviously multiple things, but I probably wouldn't want to. Whenever the ring bearer attacks, discard a card, draw a card. They could block with the elf just for the time being. I think I'll just tank it for now, but the problem with this is I have such limited removal because, you know, if it's not rebuke and he gets out of the range of rebuke, then I'm just screwed. Seems to be what's happening, or not really, but at some point you just have to do this. So he has Death Touch, which I don't care. Let's just go. You just do whatever you want. Like, I'm just trying to get damage in. I don't care. Block whoever you want. We have the 10-10. I'm going to have some epic stuff coming in. It's unlikely you'll block like a... Well, you'll block the Carotid probably with the 1-1. And the 5-6 is going to be unstoppable because I just need a rebuke. Basically, I'm just assuming he doesn't have any removal at all for the 10-10. Otherwise, I'm screwed anyway, or I have to wait till it becomes a 10 attack minion. But it is so silly to play like that. But I love the fact that I don't have any removal, and the only kind I have relies on me having stuff on the board in the first place, because I do believe so much philosophically in just playing off of the board, or like, you know, not playing out of the hand. Like, why wouldn't you have been able to... Okay, 4-5, 3-2. As long as I keep playing stuff that could trade in, that could be good. So this is 6. This is 5. This is at least okay statted. Now I can't really afford to attack in either. Or yeah, like we see AoEs so rarely that they just sort of... I could just be presenting lethal and he'll be forced to block, but... One of those contrived insular mechanics, like the whole ring bearer thing. Now, does the ring bearer thing switch to that, or just being affected by it? I almost don't even want to play that one, but we have at least so much stuff to block with. We still have 2, 3, 4, 5, so you can still do this. I'm kind of overcommitting, but I'm hoping that he won't have any answer for it. I can't really afford to do that still, though. I hate these kind of situations where you have a full board that's imposing, but then you just wait and wait and wait, and I don't have a way to counter some kind of big AoE or removal that he's going to do. These do have hexproof, though. When it enters the battlefield, amass Orcs 1. Yeah, this would be just so complicated to play and keep track of in real life. And some of these effects are so elaborate, but I do respect that it is so complicated. It's just, there'll be so many tokens and different considerations you have to do. And yeah, like imagine doing one of these infinite loop combos. The guy would just be like, okay, I get it. You're going to win. I don't even want to calculate all this stuff or try to figure out. But that's why you could just troll people, like refusing to resign in chess or something when you know you're going to lose, but you just made them go through the difficulty of actually having to play everything out. So his board is still not that imposing, but I just can't do anything. Or it could be that I have lethal if I do just go in, but it can't be. Because you could easily block, let's say, you can block 6 things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I won't get anything through. Let's just attack with that, because he only has one thing with flying, so he'll have to give it up. Or he'll just keep getting beat on. Or it would allow him to beat on me, but... I guess the whole fact that his 7-8 can't be blocked isn't even that useful to him, because he's still afraid of getting blocked by other things. Well, we got to make this epic comeback. We're the underdog, like Frodo going all the way to destroy the ring, just some random hobbit. Gains indestructible, tap it. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal, but actually it will be in the long run. So I could really use a rebuke, of which I still have like 2 or 3 in here. And last game I got like all 4 at the beginning. At least we got to face the final boss of the Lord of the Rings expansion. Somebody who really is playing into it and taking... Okay. Or wait, that doesn't even give you another one. It just makes it stronger. I don't even really need the mana. It seems very strange to do that, but I mean, 5 is good enough. Like, what else am I going to get? So a removal card would be very cute here, or like even this will win me the game because it can't be blocked. Or that's what did me in. Just the fact that... Shit. That I lose the mana to be able to do stuff like that. I should just start to go for it, though. Even though I'm leaving my board way too open to this, it's like... He won't be able to kill me. Because I can still block... Okay, I could block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just going to go for it, even though it's probably a bad play. I get kind of impatient, and I just want to do it. Okay, we kill the one thing at least. As long as we're trading in, I don't even care, but... the 2-5 won't really trade. Then see, we have the next 10-10 coming in, so why even risk him using a removal or something on it? He won't be able to kill me. And I can still block what he has. I can't block the 5-3 though. He'll have very little left on his board. He can block with the 1-1. I'm surprised he didn't actually. So we only have the 10-10 left. We can block with the Carotid. Maybe this isn't as good as I thought, but yeah, I guess even I overestimated that effect when I first saw it, that it wouldn't be able to... Oh, shit. I could still get a rebuke, which would be very valuable to me. As your ring bearer legendary can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. Whenever it attacks, draw a card, then discard a card. Whenever it becomes blocked by a creature, that creature's controller sacrifices at the end of combat. Whenever this deals combat damage to a player, each player loses 3 life. Each opponent loses 3 life. When it enters the battlefield, holy shit. Do I need it? I kind of need it because of the maybe one of any color type of thing. Just please give me a rebuke, but at least I have some beefy things to try to block with. Just go all in, summon everything. I can block with the 3-3, I can block with that. He won't even die to this, so... Okay, that doesn't bother me too much. Yeah, -1, -1. The ring tempts you. That's actually not a big deal. You can attack me with the 6-4, and it's peculiar why you didn't, right? Why didn't you do it last time? 7-5, we can still block the 9-10. In fact, the stronger you make it, the better. Well, not really, though. That health value is a little bit awkward. Okay, so he only has 2 things, and Galta might guarantee my victory, but not really. He's going to trample you. You're going to have to trade in. Like, why shouldn't you just win here at this point? You just use this guy as a dummy just to block stuff. So if I do this, you're going to take some amount of damage. I can't imagine... So the minimum you could take from this is 3. Then you block the other one, so you'll take 3, 6. You'd have to give it up. If you block with the other one, you'll take 5, 6, 7, 8. You have to block at least 1, though, right? Like, I'm going to go out for it. You can't block nothing because you'll die. You will give that up finally. And you would have been able to hit me with the... Couldn't he have just won like a million times over if he just keeps hitting me with the flying one? Maybe he doesn't understand how the flying mechanic works. Like... I can't block it, so he's down to 2. And that arguably wasn't worth it, but it was maybe the best I could do. I don't have any direct damage either. Yeah, he finally realizes now to have some other condition. Whenever one or more creatures deal combat damage to you, each opponent sacrifices a creature dealt combat damage, blah, blah, blah. Like, the longer the card text gets, the longer the game's been out and the more power creep there is. Scroll of Khazad-dûm can't be blocked except by 3 or more creatures, 6 mana, 6/5. Pretty epic match. I would say their deck's a little better because at least it has a theme to it, or it has, you know, newer power creep cards. One of two things. It actually has some idea behind it besides just a bunch of random stuff, or it just includes much, much newer cards. Although I don't even know what half these cards are from, one way or the other. We always get them so close, but I need some sort of finisher thing or just some kind of a... Fuck. So did we play 20 green cards between those 3 games, best of 3, just to complete the daily quest? Because that's all I really want to do. I don't really have time to fucking do the arena, even if I do get to 10k. But I still won't either, that's the thing. Yeah, see how much of an experience and life that takes on with the best of 3? There's going to be ups and downs. You'll get to see what their deck is really about. You need one more with the green, but at the very least, let's do best of 1, and then let's do like a different green deck. Which this one, well, wait, this is like with flying stuff, or no, I think this is with the flying stuff. Yeah, I think this I just made to try to be annoying. Like, let's see what. Yeah, that's what hybrid decks are really good for, is just to be able to complete 2 daily quests for the price of 1, because you'll be doing, you know, like you play the fairy and it's green and blue. I do not love the bright sword for its sharpness, nor the arrow for its swiftness, nor the warrior for his glory. I love only that which they defend. Drag a spell over the battlefield. The lands will be tapped to cast it, become highlighted. I never hear about this when it comes to like esports or whatever, probably because it gets overshadowed by the actual physical game that people probably spend millions of dollars on to keep up with the cards for it. Not that you wouldn't theoretically do that here too, but this is one actual advantage of the digital space. I can't just earn Magic the Gathering cards if I was to play it in real life, whereas here I can just earn them by playing. So even though they're digital and have no value, you can technically get them all for free. It just takes a long time, but that's part of the fun of, I like to play it like that, where I'm working towards something. I wouldn't want to have Mythic Caliber decks from day one because it takes the whole fun out of it and the whole journey out of it. And I probably already have so many of them, but I just don't care right now. Or I want to stumble upon one myself, like not just by net decking, but I'll end up making one just in one of these weird gimmick ideas that ends up being useful. Whenever a creature you control enters or dies, if it's greater than it, put a +1/+1. I mean, that could get annoying. I don't even have to win. I just have to play 3 green cards, and I'm the moral victor, just so that I can... That'll at least guarantee it. So next time, I 100% will do a 10k arena. The only problem is I might not have enough time to really do it. But I guess at least the draft is the most important part, because we're just choosing what cards we get to keep. But I would want to do a little better than last time just to redeem the awful performance. This is important just for getting the stupid blue requirement here. Creatures with flying can't attack you or planeswalkers you control at the beginning of your end step. Create a 5/5 worm creature token. This is actually awesome because it's an ongoing effect, right? So it would keep summoning them forever. Flying Death Touch. Yeah, this is some sort of weird like anti-flying thing that is just able to have a lot of hybrid stuff in there. It's like that was my whole idea behind it. Let's make a green deck that has a ton of flying stuff in it, all of the flying green minions. But then I realized there's practically none of them because that's the whole weakness of green. It has stuff with reach and it has like spell cards that destroy flying stuff, but even here it still sort of fits. So you would never expect such a green fanboy to ever use flying. Flying adapt for 1, so for 4 you get +1/+1, and you can only do it once. At least if you could keep stacking it, it would still be garbage. But Homunculus, I always think of Full Metal Alchemist when I hear that. There's just certain things that become ubiquitous with, you know, like when you think of, oh, exorcism as a basic concept, you always think of, obviously, The Exorcist, despite all the thousands of movies since then that are about the same subject. Fights creature you can't control. When it enters the battlefield, choose one, double the counters. This you can't actually play. Discard it, return card from graveyard to hand, which would be maybe worth it. I don't know. I have 4 mana, 5 mana. Yeah, I really do need it because I'm not going to be able to. I'm not going to be able to do anything when it comes to the blue, right? You need either this check or you need the guy, the Carotid, to give you the blue. So I don't think I have 0 blue land because I hate it, and it's an oxymoron too. Water land, there's no such thing. The Carotid could answer my problems too, and then we'll have technically 3 blue mana then available at any time. Yeah, we might beat him for the same way that we always would lose as green. You just don't have flying stuff, so you just can't deal with it. Each other non-human creature you control enters the battlefield with additional +1/+1. Using a red and green hybrid. But yeah, I think I've hardly used any sort of hybrid decks in the whole experience of doing this too. Hardly used planeswalkers, hardly used hybrid stuff, and as I'm playing one even now, but it's mainly not meant to be one. In fact, you could argue it's not, because it's still 100% green. It's just whatever blue stuff you're going to do, you're going to satisfy from other minion effects. That's been my most used mechanic in the whole game, is just mana generating minions, as if having 20-30 land isn't enough in a deck. This will be pretty fun to do, but I can't do it yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can almost do it. I'm not too worried about that, and we can keep beating on him with the flying thing. When it enters the battlefield until end of turn, whenever creature dealt damage. You could just stack up the flying, which is the whole point of this. I don't think I've ever actually successfully played that card before. Of course, because I'm winning the game so badly by the time I get to it that it's already over, but that is a super good value card, actually, because for 2 mana, you're getting a 1/1 with flying that can potentially block and kill anything that strikes it. So it's very, very good. Or like even here, it can just kind of annoy them. Needle them, even. Or one of my big weaknesses is just AoE. If you have something that clears the board, I'm screwed because I always overcommit because my whole thing is based around the board. I don't have anything that's going to buff the mana generation here, so maybe I should have. Indestructible as long as your devotion to red and green is less than 7. Not a creature. Beginning of your pre-combat main phase, exile target card from graveyard. If it was a land card, add a fire or a tree. Otherwise, you gain 2 life. Deals 2 damage to each opponent, which makes it seem like, oh, each minion, that's one of the most annoying card techs in the game. But no, it's like if you're doing a double duel and fighting 2 people at once, which you can't even seem to do in this game. Just somehow that must be the official card text terminology for whatever formats they must do in real life. This would be kind of cool, although it's not like we'll benefit from that. Getting of your end step, create a 5/5. That would be kind of fun to do. Use blockers. I almost don't even care. But I'm trying to save this for something a little better. So we'll do this just to give more mana generation from that. Four, I'll basically be dead. And I can't do anything about this either, ever. Effects that say destroy, don't destroy. Can be destroyed by damage. But it won't be destroyed by damage. It'll be... But it still says destroy in there. The only way to deal with that is basically exile or some kind of silence, which, of course, I never have anything like that. What is silence even called in this game? It's like the effect with the chain, right? The blue chain. I don't know what they actually say it is, though. Whatever, I still get the moral victory because of the fact that I do the daily quest. Can't do anything with that, so we may as well just get use out of the blocking. You'll hit me with the 4-5. Everything else should at least die, though. That trample effect won't do anything. Wait, when it dies, deal 2 damage. Wait, but why did that guy... Oh, you just lost your... Of course, I knew that was going to happen. You lost your devotion, so now you actually have to play stuff to do it. Or you clown me with that, which... Now that really sets back my ability to play this. That's all I wanted, just as a cool mechanic. I do love this because of how much I hate flying, even though I'm using a flying focused deck. Just to sort of give them a taste of their own medicine. Because everybody kind of clowns me with that. A flying angel white heal buff deck. The most common thing you ever see in this game ever. Especially at the low rating. Yeah, lost to an AoE. Imagine using one of those. 4 damage to each creature and each planeswalker for only 4 is pretty good value, actually. Yeah, that should definitely have been the daily quest. So at least for once, for us, it's more like weekly quest. Yeah, just to do the math on it, it should be very easy because we'll have 3 quests to do next time. And before all 3 of them are not doable based on what I use, which is, you know, it's either going to be green, blue, or red. I don't really use anything with black, or you could do it just for the sake of it. Traditional draft. Now, is a traditional draft 10k? It is. Like 1 card at a time, rotating picks. The cards will be added to your collection. You'll use them plus basic lands to build a 40 card deck. Play best of 3 matches, receive prize based on how many you win. So, but whatever it is, we can look forward to it, but it doesn't mean I'll be able to do it because it'll be different next week. Premier draft is 10k. Like, it is kind of bullshit how they do this. Or at the beginning, I never looked in the other menus, so why does it take me there? Limit it. Tales of Middle Earth. What, can you not do the limited one? Put your limited skills to the test. Yeah, what would it be that I would have to get to do a buyback? If you get 4 wins, or sorry, 5 wins, or even, yeah, even 4 would be close enough. Or even 3 would be almost close enough because we have some reserve. Right, so you'd have to win 3 to 4 games, that's it. And you would earn enough to almost do another one, and then you can get on a good run, a good streak, which has yet to happen with me with this game, where you can keep doing them off the strength of how well you're doing overall. The problem is you're going to have some gold from daily quests, and then you're going to have some gems. But there's no way to convert between the two as far as I know. Or maybe you can convert one way from gems to gold, but you should be able to do it both ways. You can convert from real money to gems if you're a clown. I love the sort of duality of that. As much as I ridicule people for buying microtransactions in games, some of my favorite games of all time are able to be, or just even my most played games of all time, like NBA 2K or Hearthstone or whatever, have been upkept by other people spending their hard-earned money on stuff in the game, virtual stuff that's not even real, that won't even last, that doesn't even serve a purpose, that you can't even see some of the time if it's a first-person shooter, like a skin or something stupid. So they do that, and then they make the game what it is, and then I just sit back and enjoy it, because I'm never in a hurry to just get through it or get to the end or whatever, do a pay-to-win type of nonsense. So it works for me in both senses. It's like the ultimate psychological bait. Oh, did that say it's leaving soon? The ring permanent challenge. If you don't buy that by the time it expires, you have to delete your account. That it'll never come back, or who knows when they'll decide to do it. Yeah, look how insane that is. 15,000 or 3,000. Historic Anthology 7. New Historic Anthology, Explore Anthology. Come see what's entering Historic, and oh, just like once it rotates out. Historic's the only mode I even enjoy anyway. MagicCon has taken Barcelona in the stop of the World Pro Tour. Watch the best of multiverse come together. Yeah, like let's see, what would it take to qualify for that? I am curious about the esports scene for this. You probably have to be like a mythic high rank anyway, or a lot of this stuff is drafts anyway. Jump into Middle Earth. People always say this is so popular and it's so big in the competitive space, but I don't know. It somehow seems sort of sealed off, or you're not aware of it unless you're really in the circle, I guess. Some things you just know, like League of Legends, you would have known about that regardless whether you play it or not. It's just such a big thing. Yeah, that's the whole irony of
Good to see you
oh
again.
god, I hate that. One time it did it like at the beginning, just when I entered the game, and she's explaining basic mechanics, even though I had been playing for like 6 months, almost as if to clown me, like, "Oh, you're doing so shitty, that you must be a new player." Yeah, like on one hand, they'll pay money to upkeep a game or allow a game to exist that otherwise wouldn't, and then not only do I not feel the need to buy it, but I also am playing the game for free and getting hundreds of hours of content out of it, but I also have something to progress towards. So I wouldn't want to buy it for 2 reasons, right? One, I just hate the idea of microtransactions and it's dumb, and you can just let others pick up the slack and get free stuff basically for it, just the free, experience of the game, which some of the best games of all time are free, or so many, Fortnite wouldn't have existed, or so many of these things. Or not that it wouldn't have existed, but just it wouldn't have been what it is, because if it's like with Overwatch 1. If you had just bought Overwatch 1 for $60, then they don't give a shit about it anymore because they already got your money, and now they want to try to sell you skins or whatever. But yeah, the second part of it is just the fact that, like, doesn't that just, something about it just doesn't look really like what I imagine, but maybe it's somehow just its own version of the art. I guess I'm just thinking about how they look in the movies, which isn't necessarily the only interpretation, but yeah, it also is the progression thing. Like, oh, I want to have something to work towards, and I don't want to spend money to sort of cheat the process. The same way, like in a single player game, you could just cheat to the end, or you could just use a cheat code and like, oh, have infinite gold and infinite this and that, but you choose not to do that because what's the point? Right? The whole fun of it is to work towards something and to overcome something. If you have anything you want whenever you want, then it means nothing. So you almost want the rules and you want the restraint and sort of the challenge that goes along with it. So I apply that same sort of thinking to multiplayer stuff. I wouldn't want to unlock everything from day one. Yeah, we have 9K, so that guarantees next time that I can do a draft. Opens when Wilds of Eldraine releases in September. That going to be like the mini set of there'll be a Lord of the Rings expansion and then a mini set expansion within that, or just the next one altogether. It's just very weird, some of the crossovers that they do. I guess I don't really understand. Like, let's see if there's any that we notice if we look through the collection, or how do we see it actually? You can sort by like all the ones throughout the history of the game. Multiverse, Shadows of the Past, Retro, Mystical, Jumpstart, Historic Anthology, blah blah blah. Solid Dash, Shadows over Instrad. See, is that some sort of reference to some other series or game, or is that just inherent lore of it? Dominaria, like, these must just all be crossovers, is now what I'm thinking. Like, obviously Baldur's Gate, they should maybe make it more clear. Some of it's just going to be their own internal lore. Alchemy, Lord of the Rings, Rebalance, Pyrexia, Midnight Hunt, Crimson Vow, Neon Dynasty, Streets of New Capenna, Dominaria, The Brothers' War. Yeah, where is like it's probably just considered part of the anthology, one of the historic ones. It was like Baldur's Gate or whatever. I played Baldur's Gate 2 briefly, but I don't really remember anything about it. I remember getting stuck on how the combat worked at the beginning for a super long time, hilariously, just because, I don't know, I hadn't played a game of that genre really by then. It had like a ridiculous amount of replay value too. Alright, see you tomorrow.